Being a parent to teenagers, boy, it can be tough because teenagers face so many life circumstances today that many of us cannot relate to from when we were their age. From the pandemic to all-consuming technology, it is just a lot. So I talked to Dr. Gregory Charlop for ideas on how we can help teenage girls overcome their biggest challenges. When it comes to teenage girls, what do you think are like the three major things that they struggle with?
Well, thanks for having me here. It's great to be on your show. You know, unfortunately, the kids aren't all right. There was some recent research that found out that ER visits for attempted suicide for teenage girls has gone up 50% since the pandemic started.
Wow.
So our teenage girls are really struggling. And this is likely due to a combination of things. Part of it is due to the pandemic and stress from it. I think a lot of it is also due to isolation from either not being in school or not being involved in social activities. Inactivity in general, kids just aren't outside and doing their sports. And also social media is playing a big role in depression and anxiety among teenage girls.
Yeah, I can feel those as an adult, and I can't imagine how much more it's felt when you're a teenager. What do you do about this, especially like with the inactivity and comparison? Is there a solution to help with these things they're struggling with?
Well, you know, I'll give you kind of a surprising answer. It turns out Ernst & Young did this study, and they found out that over 90% of C-suite women, a huge number, played sports when they were younger. There's just this massive relationship between youth sports and adult success for women. And so one of the big things I recommend, and actually we started this from Soccer to C-Suite program, we're having a conference in Washington, D.C. to talk about this, is when you get girls involved in sports when they're younger, it makes a difference in all of these things. It cuts back on depression, anxiety, it certainly improves inactivity, it leads to future success.
You know, it's funny. We have a 5-month-old daughter right now. She's our firstborn. And the doctor said, get her involved in sports. This is going to help her so much with some of these challenges that you were pointing out that people face. What about some of the other suggestions? So you mentioned like sports. What about like getting them involved in the community so they feel more of that connection?
Right. You know, it's funny. It's almost ironic in a way that in some ways we're more connected than ever. You know, I could text you or email you, or we could Snapchat or FaceTime each other. But in many other ways, we're more distant than we've ever been. People don't see each other face to face. And this was really starting even before the pandemic. And I think the pandemic made it worse. And so what we need to do is we've lost the ability, and our teens especially have lost the ability to connect with people in person, to know what it's like to interact with someone, to read body language, facial expression. So getting your kids involved in community activities that they like, fun things or things with your church or religious organization, that stuff makes a big difference because it shows people how to interact with other people. And it's actually a skill that you learn and you practice. And if you don't do it, you're not good at it.
Yeah. I know you also mentioned like mindfulness meditation, but the one that I was surprised about, give girls more choices. What does that mean real quickly?
Well, so we tend to think that when you turn 18, you get this magical ability to make good decisions. And certainly we've seen that isn't really true. And the ability to make decisions, it's like a muscle. You practice it, and the more you do it, the better you get at it. And so it turns out that when we give our kids little choices now, do you want to eat this or that? Would you rather go here or there? For little kids, do you want to use the red spoon or the blue spoon? That's a skill that gets developed. So as parents, within reason, the more options you can give, the more chance you can give your kids or your daughters to make choices that are safe, even if it's not something you would do. If you let them pick it and it's safe, you help them develop the ability to make future choices.
That's great. Dr. Charlop, I'm going to use all of these. Thank you for joining us today. Nice to meet you.
Great. Thank you for having me on.
I learned so many tips. Dr. Charlop's new book, From Soccer to C-Suite, is set to release this spring.